This is my full-blown gaming/content room, and every day I spend around 5 hours in here scripting and filming videos, and then 5 more hours having to edit. And this is my bedroom that is extremely bland, pretty messy, and has a good-looking spot for an editing setup. So in this video, I'll be saving myself from staying put in one spot all day long by building my dream editing setup. So first things first, I want to start with a completely blank canvas and start fresh, so let's get this desk and everything in this corner out of here. Done. Now let's move in the new desk. So before I kicked my sister out of the house to build my dream gaming room, I obviously had my setup in here before, but my least favorite part about this room is the fact that it's so crammed in this tiny corner because I have a massive bed, but being in a crammed area will force me to use my imagination a little more, so this setup is gonna look amazing regardless. Now this time around, I did decide to go with a bamboo look because my other setup is an all white one and I really wanted to diversify the two, so when I'm editing, it really feels like I'm in a completely different place. Now before loading up this desk with a bunch of tech items, I need to put on the most important part, LED strips. I've built setups before where I've completely put everything on top of the desk and forgot LED strips, and it was an absolute pain to attempt to do this with all the monitor arms and everything in my way. So I always try and do this beforehand just to make things easier on myself. So now that I have the desk set up, I spent the next 3 hours looking for inspiration on Pinterest and even using AI to make the best editing setup of all time. So after spending a little bit of time and getting more inspiration, I went back to all reliable 3D wall panels. So as much as I am trying to avoid copying the other setup, I just feel it would look weird not having anything behind the setup, so this was my idea once again. But this time around, instead of doing white 3D panels, I decided to do black. Now not only are the panels going behind the setup, but as well as something else. So to make them all align and make sure everything fits, I made some measurements and markups to figure out how many of these I exactly need to place. So you know the rules. Play my theme music. Oh my gosh, it actually looks so nice. This is exactly why I love 3D panels. Now, once again, I am taking a little more inspiration from my other main gaming setup of the Govee glides above the 3D panels and down the side. I just feel that without them, it looks really funky and just incompleted, so this is the best way to top it off. Well, if this is your first time watching me, you've learned by now that I run into a lot of problems. So I'm a very OCD person, and when lining these up at the bottom of the desk to make sure they would match up top, as you can see, it slightly overlaps by maybe half an inch. So this minor detail may or may not drive me crazy, but we're gonna work with what we've got. Now the adhesive on the back of these things are seriously no joke. So I seriously need to be careful when sticking this onto the wall because if I misplace it, I'm probably gonna rip the entire wall off. There, I mean, that looks good to me. Now I just need to add this corner piece to add the bottom row. Oh, I know this is gonna drive me absolutely crazy. Just act like you didn't see nothing. And last but not least, all I have to do is put the final row of Govee glides on the side. And now the last thing to do is make sure that everything was connected correctly. Here we go. Dude, I swear that is the coolest freaking light up every time. Well, the most dreadful part of this video for me has finally come, and that's hanging up posters. I got these really cool plant/shoe looking posters from Etsy, and I decided I'm gonna place these right above the Govee glides because if you couldn't already tell, the aesthetic I decided for this setup is gonna be more of a plant/worm style to match with the wooden desk and black colored 3D panels. Now, I say this is the most dreadful part because I am awful at hanging things up, and without fail, things normally aren't that even and take a couple tries, so please wish me luck. Yeah. I absolutely love how these turned out, and for the first time in ever, it actually didn't take me that long to put up, so I guess we're getting better at hanging things up. Alrighty, that's gonna be the end of day one. It got late on me quick, and it's already 11 o'clock, but I'm pretty proud of all the things we were able to do so far. So for now, I'm going to bed, but I'll catch y'all on day 2. It is now day 2 of building my dream editing setup, and yesterday I had put up all the annoying accessories such as the 3D panels, the posters, and the Govee glides. They would have been a real pain to do if I would have had stuff already on the desk. So now that these things are out of the way, I can finally start putting the actual setup on the desk. Now, the first thing I'm going to be putting on the desk is the PC, just so I can kind of align where the monitor mount should go and things aren't too cramped. So let's go get that. Alright, Alrighty, so this is the PC I'm gonna be rocking in this setup, and it's actually the one I built 2 videos ago. And when I tell y'all, I got absolutely flamed in my comment section of over 1,200 people telling me, why would you use a 3050? So to prove that I do listen to my viewers and how y'all criticize me, I went out and bought a 4060 Ti, which I'm going to upgrade the PC with right now. You know, the more I think about it, I'm probably gonna get clowned on for using a 4060 Ti as well. So if that's the case, at this point, I really don't know how to please y'all. So now that we have the GPU part out of the way, it's time to move on to the monitor mount. Now, since this is an editing setup, I am going with a 2-monitor display layout, which will include the left one as a vertical and the right one as a horizontal. I've just personally found this layout to be super functional to me within my regular setup, so I've decided to bring it to my editing one as well. Now, something I'm actually super excited about is this time around, I made sure to get 2 of the exact same monitors, which are both 27 inches from Innocent, and they actually hooked it up and sent these out to me for completely free. So thank you for saving my bank account. My gosh, dude, these actually look so good. I'm not even trolling. So now that I've got the monitors mounted, it's time to put in my favorite part. I decided to go more on the neutral side when it came to peripherals by just keeping it as simple as black and white. So I got this really cool mouse pad from Highstar, and I think it actually goes extremely well with this tabletop and really just makes it pop. And for my mouse, I bought another G Pro Superlight because once I find a mouse that perfectly fits my hand size, I never want to change to a different one. The board I'm rocking is a custom build that looks and sounds pretty dang nice, and it's paired with a coiled cable for an even cleaner look. These things only run like $10 to $15, so if you don't have one in your setup, you're seriously missing out. Now, since this is an editing setup, there comes times while I'm editing that I need to do a voiceover. So I made sure to get this high quality podcast type microphone from Wano called the PD400X that I'm gonna attach to the side, so it's as simple as just moving it over when I'm not using it. Now, as you heard me say, this actually is like a podcast mic, so it does require an XLR cable. I'm pairing it with this really simple and easy to use Wano mixer, just so I can get the absolute most out of this microphone. At times, editing can take up to a full day of just staring at a screen, and of course, that's not too great for your eyes. So I found these light bars to be extremely helpful when it comes to doing so. And this one from Quintus is super cool because its control panel is actually on this little circle, which actually kind of just looks like a cool desk accessory. And as you can see, the difference between it being on and off is drastic. I went ahead and plugged in all the wires off camera because, well, that would have been a little boring to show and definitely would have led to some awkward angles. But I think I did a pretty decent job up top of keeping as many wires hidden as possible, but I definitely cannot say the same thing about beneath. So we're gonna get started on that now. To keep it real, I absolutely despise cable management, but thanks to this part of the desk, it should actually make it pretty easy for us in this video, which leads us into our sponsor. This is Vernal standing desk. It's absolutely perfect for an editing setup since it's able to rise all the way up to allow me to work while standing and avoid sitting down for hours on end, keeping my back healthy. It supports up to 160 kilograms as you previously saw, which gives your setup guaranteed support at any height. And it's really about to help me easily cable manage thanks to this tray and avoid all the frustrations that I normally face. So go get the Vernal standing desk for $100 off now and use code Chandler for an additional 7% off. You'll be able to find all this in the description below, so let's get back to building this setup. Now, in reality, it looks pretty dang messy underneath the desk, especially right here, but I've said this before and I'll say it again, angles are everything. Now, the actual setup portion is finally complete, but something is still very lacking, and that's this wall. Now, the original plan for this wall was to actually put this pegboard here that I failed to use properly in my other setup room, but once again, this thing just continues to bring me problems. Now, this time around, it would actually fit the correct way, but the issue is this is a standing desk, and if I were to raise it high up enough, it would definitely bump into the things on the pegboard. So although I had taken them down, I'm back to square one, and I'm putting these floating shelves back up here. Now, I am only going to be able to do the top 2 because once again, if I was to put the bottom 3rd one, while rising the desk up, the PC would most definitely bump into it. So I'm gonna have to find a replacement of something to put right here. And after thinking it through, I knew just the thing. NanoLeaf sent me these line lights a little while back, and for a while I didn't know what to do with them, but now I'm thinking this is the perfect spot for them. So I've spent a little bit of time reading through the instructions because these are a little different compared to the triangles that I've used before from NanoLeaf when it comes to putting them together, so I'm gonna spend a little more time coming up with a design. So for now, you know the rules. Now, I have absolutely no idea what this design is even supposed to be, but it looks pretty good and it fills up the area I needed it to. So now let's see it turned on. Yo, those look sick. It's like super minimal and like not too much, which I actually really like. Now, just adding these lights drastically changed this setup and I believe might have been the icing on the cake. But these top shelves are still empty. So to match my posters of like a shoebox vibe, I'm gonna put my Yeezy 350 box up here. And funny enough, High Ground is my favorite keyboard company and it just works out that their colors match this setup. Now, since I'd say we're kind of like on the decoration arc right now, I decided to add this really cool fake plant on the left side of the desk and put this Batman Funko Pop inside the PC. Now, I'm not gonna lie, I'm kind of liking this setup more than my actual gaming setup, and the best part is we're not even done yet. I'm well aware that this is a standing desk, and don't get me wrong, the main motive of building this setup in the first place was to avoid me from rotting in a chair all day long. But I also don't want to have to stand for 12 hours straight if it comes down to it. So I got this ergonomic chair from Odin Lake, and I made sure to avoid one of the gaming chairs because those really aren't that good for you after a long period of time. Now, the only issue is this is extremely crammed right here, and I don't really have much room to like scoot back at all, but that's just something I'm gonna have to deal with. And when I'm not actually using it, I guess I'll just set it right here, which isn't the most convenient, but it'll work for now. But I'd say that just about completes this setup, and now it's time to see this thing fully turned on. I don't think y'all are ready for this. But anyways, that just about wraps this video up. So let me know what you guys think of my new productivity setup and if I should add or change anything, because I love bringing y'all's comments to life. And this is now my third setup that I've built on my channel, and I'm super blessed and thankful that I'm even able to casually do this in the first place. So I want to give my genuine thanks to you guys for supporting me with something big. I want to build an insane setup for someone that watches my videos that isn't exactly fortunate enough to buy these things that I'm able to have. So comment down below if that person is you, a friend, a cousin, just anyone you know and genuinely deserves something like that. And of course is subscribe to me. And if you're a brand and you'd like to support this dream of mine come true, my email is in the description. I would also appreciate it if we could get this video to 20,000 likes to prove I have the best viewers in the world, and make sure to subscribe so we can hit that 100,000 mark and get my play button. Thank you all so much for watching, and all y'all fellas stay blessed and remember to always put God first. And until next time,